everyone, welcome back to the deep dive. We all know the feeling, right? You're trying to stay ahead of the curve, but the information overload is real.
It really is.
Well, that's exactly why we do this show, to get to the heart of what matters, cut through the noise, and give you the core insights you need without drowning you in all the details.
Absolutely. Efficiency is key.
So today we're diving deep into a topic that's close to home for many businesses, and that's Salesforce. It's a platform with a ton of potential, but one thing we hear over and over is, how do you actually make Salesforce work for you without breaking the bank?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, look, Salesforce Data Cloud is now sitting on, what, like 50 trillion records?
Yeah, it's mind-boggling.
So on the one hand, that tells you Salesforce is a major player, but it also highlights the sheer scale and complexity we're dealing with here. Implementation costs, they can spiral out of control if you're not careful.
It's a common pain point.
It is. I mean, everyone gets excited about the new system, all the possibilities, and then bam, that budget starts creeping up like crazy.
Yep, seen it happen too many times.
And it's not just one thing, right? It's the customization, the data migration from your old systems.
Training your team, the testing phase, the ongoing maintenance.
Yeah.
It all adds up.
You know, it's funny. I was even seeing some threads online where people were sharing their, total shock at the unexpected costs that cropped up during their Salesforce projects. You think you have it all figured out, and then, surprise.
And those surprises can be costly.
Exactly. So in this deep dive, our mission is to really understand how to keep those Salesforce implementation costs under control, how to make the platform work for you, not the other way around.
I like that, making it work for you.
Because at the end of the day, it's about maximizing the value, right?
Without a doubt.
So before we jump into the solutions, let's get real about why these implementations can be so darn expensive in the first place.
Right, let's break it down.
One of Salesforce's biggest selling points is its flexibility. You can customize it to fit your business like a glove. But as with most things in life, that flexibility can come with a hefty price tag.
For sure. The more you tailor it, the more you're likely to pay.
Exactly. When you start creating custom objects, building out complex workflows, and integrating it with all your other systems, that's where you need the big guns experienced developers. And those specialized skills don't come cheap. Plus, all that bespoke work needs to be thoroughly tested, which, as you can imagine, stretches the timeline and, yep, you guessed it, inflates the budget.
You're hitting on a key point. A lot of businesses underestimate the hidden costs of customization.
It's like the iceberg effect.
Exactly. They only see the tip, but what lies beneath is often way more extensive.
And those hidden costs, they keep on giving, right? Maintaining and updating a highly customized Salesforce environment, that's a whole other budget beast.
You've got it. Now, on top of all that, let's not forget about data migration and system integration.
Oh yeah, the fun part.
Migrating years of data, customer info, sales records, the whole shebang, from your old systems to Salesforce, that's no walk in the park.
It's a data marathon, and you're not even sure if you train properly.
It can feel like that.
Yeah.
And it's not as simple as just copying and pasting. You have to clean that data, get rid of duplicates, fix any inaccuracies, and then comes the really tricky part, mapping all of it perfectly to the new Salesforce structure. It's intricate work.
The very detail-oriented, and any mistakes can snowball into bigger problems down the line.
You said it. And that's just migrating your internal data, integrating Salesforce with your other critical systems, your ERP, marketing automation tools, databases. It's like trying to orchestrate a symphony of data, and if one instrument is out of tune,
It throws the whole thing off.
exactly. Each connection, each integration adds another layer of complexity. And if you don't have the right tools, it often means a lot of manual configuration, which equals more time, more money, more headaches.
So the takeaway here is don't skimp on data cleansing up front.
That's a great point. It might seem like an added expense initially, but trust me, it's a drop in the bucket compared to fixing a mess of errors later on.
Prevention is definitely cheaper than the cure, especially when it comes to data.
Absolutely. And that brings us to another big cost factor that sometimes gets overlooked. Your people.
The human element.
Right.
Right.
You can have the most technically perfect Salesforce setup in the world, but if your team doesn't know how to use it, or even worse, resists using it,
Then what's the point, right?
you're throwing money down the drain. Training and user adoption are critical, but they're often significant investments. Workshops, ongoing support resources, these add up quickly. And if you end up with low user adoption, it can totally sabotage your return on investment.
It's like buying a fancy sports car and then never taking it out of the garage.
Perfect analogy.
Uh,
And then there's the testing and quality assurance phase, which is absolutely crucial. But
That's
you got it. It's not just a quick once-over. It involves meticulous planning, creating detailed test scenarios, rigorously executing them, and then tracking and resolving every single issue that pops up.
which means more time, more people, more money.
Traditionally, yes.
And as if all that wasn't enough, the costs don't magically disappear once a system is live.
Oh no, the party's just getting started.
Enter stage left,
Hmm.
ongoing support and maintenance. Salesforce is constantly evolving, updates, security patches, and let's face it, your business needs change over time too. All of that contributes to those long-term operational costs that can be a real drain.
And don't even get me started on the risks if your post-implementation support is shaky. System performance issues, downtime, even compliance problems, those are all possibilities.
It's a constant balancing act.
It is.
But here's where it gets exciting.
Okay, I'm listening.
We're starting to see how artificial intelligence, AI, is changing the game in terms of tackling these cost challenges head on.
Oh yeah, AI's potential in this space is huge.
And that brings us to a company that's really caught our eye, GetGenerative.ai. They're taking a very innovative approach.
I've heard good things. What are they doing differently?
Well, their whole focus is on leveraging AI to streamline the entire Salesforce implementation process.
Interesting.
Their goal is to cut costs significantly at every stage without sacrificing the quality of the final system.
So a win-win situation.
Exactly. They're looking at the entire implementation journey from that initial pre-sales and solution design phase
Like the very beginning.
all the way to the post-launch support.
Got it.
And one of the coolest things is how they're using AI right from the get-go.
Tell me more.
Okay, so they have this pre-sales agent. Picture this. You're gathering all those initial requirements from the client, lots of documents probably.
Yep, been there.
Instead of someone having to manually go through all those pages and pages, their AI steps in, it analyzes everything, pulls out the key info you need.
Kind of like having a super efficient research assistant.
Exactly. And that automatically extracted information, it feeds right into an automated solution design process. It helps you define the project scope much more accurately right up front.
That's a huge time saver.
Huge. And to top it off, they've even got these AI insights built in.
What do those do?
Well, they analyze all that information and actually recommend the best implementation strategies and how to allocate resources right there at the proposal stage.
Wow, that's impressive.
It is. It's all about setting the stage for a more efficient and cost-effective project right from the beginning.
And minimizing those dreaded surprises later down the line.
Exactly.
Okay, so you've got the pre-sale stage covered. What about once the deal is done and you need to actually start turning those high-level requirements into a workable plan?
Right, because that's where things can really start to get messy.
Oh yeah, that translation from big picture ideas to the nitty-gritty details is crucial.
And that's where their design agent comes in. Imagine this. Instead of someone manually going through those often super long proposals and translating everything into detailed user stories and acceptance criteria, this AI agent does a lot of that heavy lifting for you.
Right, yeah.
It takes those key actions and desired outcomes from the proposal and turns them into that standard user story format. Now,
Yeah.
as a user type, I want to do something so that benefit.
Oh, I see. So it makes everything crystal clear for the development team.
Exactly. No more ambiguity, no more getting lost in translation. And they take it even further.
How so?
It actually generates initial project plans, breaking everything down into themes and epics. And the best part is it integrates with project management tools like Jira.
That's seamless.
It really is. So you're basically going from that initial sales conversation to a profit-ready plan in a fraction of the time.
Which, of course, saves time and money.
You got it. And then we get to the heart of where things can get really expensive. Custom development.
Ah, yes, the code-slinging arena.
And here's where their build agent steps in. It actually helps accelerate the implementation by automatically generating custom code and configurations.
Wait, hold on. AI is writing the code now.
Pretty much. Think of it as an AI that's been trained on a massive amount of Salesforce best practices and code patterns.
I see. So it knows what works, what doesn't.
Exactly. It can whip up those commonly used code snippets and automate a lot of the configuration for metadata and system settings.
So you're reducing your reliance on extensive developers.
And speeding up the whole build process. They even have AI-powered code review to catch any errors and make sure everything's top-notch.
Smart. So less manual coding, faster development cycles, and fewer errors to fix later on. That all translates to some serious cost savings.
And speaking of saving money, testing is another area where things can really get out of hand.
It's one of those necessary evils, right? You have to do it, but it can be so resource intensive.
And that's where their testing agent comes into play. It automates a huge chunk of that testing process.
Walk me through it.
So it can automatically generate those test cases based on all those project requirements we talked about earlier.
So no more manual test script creation.
Exactly. It also streamlines the execution, tracks any defects, and even helps with the resolution workflows.
And all of this is driven by AI.
Yep. It's designed to provide more comprehensive test coverage than you'd likely get manually, which reduces the risk of those nasty surprises popping up after you go live.
Makes sense. It's about catching those bugs early before they become bigger, more expensive problems.
Exactly. And with all this automation in place, GetGenerative.ai claims some pretty impressive cost reductions.
Oh yeah. What kind of numbers are we talking about?
Well, they say businesses can save, on average, between 30 to 50% compared to traditional Salesforce implementations.
30 to 50%, that's a game changer.
It really is. And they attribute these savings to a few key things. Minimizing all that manual work across all the phases, speeding up the project timeline, and significantly reducing rework.
So it's not just about doing things faster, it's about doing them smarter.
Absolutely. And for our listeners out there, let's bring this all together. So how does this AI-powered approach maximize cost savings without sacrificing the quality of the Salesforce implementation?
Well, if we zoom out and look at the big picture, it's about strategically applying automation at every critical point in the process. From pre-sales and planning, where AI ensures everyone is on the same page from the start, to design and development, where it takes over those repetitive, time-consuming tasks. AI is like a super efficient assistant that never gets tired.
Right. It's handling those nitty-gritty details so you can focus on the bigger picture.
Exactly. And then, of course, there's the testing phase, where AI significantly reduces the overhead of manual testing, leading to a more robust and reliable system. And even though we didn't dive too deep into them earlier, automated processes can streamline things like data migration, minimizing errors, and keeping costs down. AI can even play a role in training and user adoption by generating customized learning materials, potentially saving a bundle compared to traditional training programs. And finally, in the ongoing support and maintenance phase, predictive monitoring and automated troubleshooting can help anticipate and resolve issues before they become major headaches.
It's like having a crystal ball that can spot potential problems before they even happen.
In a way, yes.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? If you're dealing with a Salesforce implementation or even thinking about scaling your existing setup, this deep dive shows how AI-powered automation, like the approach GetGenerative.ai is taking, offers a really promising way to get it done faster, cheaper, and potentially with better results.
Couldn't agree more. It's about streamlining those traditionally complex workflows, speeding up those timelines, and making the most of your resources.
And it leaves you with a question to ponder. Given how quickly AI is evolving and how deeply it's becoming integrated with platforms like Salesforce, what other traditionally complex and expensive business processes might be completely transformed in the near future?
Now that's something to think about.
It definitely is.
The possibilities are pretty exciting.
They really are. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.
See you then.